Hey everybody, watch this review here with a little quick talk on the whole Spider-Man 4 situation. For those of you not aware, about a month ago I think, they announced that Raimi was officially off the project. He was previously directed the first three films. In addition to doing a whole lot of B-list crap during the 80s, such as Evil Dead and the Maniac Cop series. Or was he, not Maniac Cop, the other cop one? There were a whole lot of maybe Psycho Cop. No, actually, I think he was Maniac Cop. But whichever one, his BFF and hetero life partner Bruce Campbell was in. I think one of the big roles in that one, but I'm sure somebody knows which one I'm talking about. I just can't remember offhand. I don't feel like wikiing it. But Raimi went off the project. So then they decided they were going to bring in like a whole new cast and stuff and possibly even do a reboot. I swear to God, it's like the scariest word to like fans, but after what Raimi did with the project, a reboot kind of feels necessary in some levels just because he really messed a lot of things up. I mean, I'm not even going to beat around the bush here. I mean, he's killed off two goblins. Casting for a lot of these movies was kind of lackluster. I seriously didn't like how they handled the Venom symbiote, and I didn't like how they handled the entire Norman Osborn arc so much in the first one. Then kind of transitioned kind of funnily into the Harry Osborn arc in the third movie, but getting completely off tangent here. Well, I guess I am still kind of on tangent. But yeah, I was originally going to toss out like a Spidey movie here and then have these guys here like looking and going, oh my god, oh no, we're getting a reboot. But then I couldn't find any of my Spider-Man movies, so yeah, just give me a B for effort here. I just, whatever you do, don't give me an incomplete, because, I swear I brought it in my homework, I just don't have it with me right now. It's somewhere, but not with me right now. At any rate, the big scare with a reboot at this point is that we'd have to sit through the origin story again. Spider-Man's origin isn't as fun as a lot of the other origins. Because, you really feel bad for the guy, because Uncle Ben in every incarnation is like a pretty cool guy, and he ends up basically being like a half-orphan. Because he was kind of an orphan to begin with, though, so like a three-quarters orphan. If you could be three-quarters an orphan. I'll have to get back to that point. Because I'm just not exactly sure how much of an orphan Peter Parker is after all that stuff. But, yeah. In terms of origins, I mean, there have been two big reboots so far in terms of the Marvel line since the year 2000. Well, I guess the second wasn't that major, but everybody remembers that the Hulk came out and then it was like this really weird movie where they had all these little stupid comic-y effects, and nobody liked that. And then they tossed in a villain that, wasn't really very Hulkish at the time or something, but they decided to go back and they redid it, and the second movie was a bit better, but, it's still not quite on target, but it's a lot better. I mean, the one thing about that I didn't like was Tim Roth was playing Abomination. I don't think Tim Roth is a very talented actor. Granted, I do enjoy watching Lie to Me, although the later episodes haven't been as good as the earlier ones. But Tim Roth really has no acting range, because like even when he's like trying to sound angry on that show, and it's supposed to be like legitimate anger, it just sounds like he's trying to mess with people. But, the other big one that most people kind of aren't aware of is Punisher. The original Punisher came out, it was this really corny-ass movie in like 2003, 2004, maybe in 2005 or something. Then, it didn't have much of a body count, at least not the ones that the Punisher killed. I guess the mob killed a bunch, but... And then it had a whole bunch of stupid plans where he's trying to convince... Actually, I probably should have mentioned that because it's kind of spoilers, but it's got like a whole conspiracy thing instead of the Punisher just going places and like killing people. Which, is the Punisher I've come to know in life. The guy doesn't take any crap instead of moving around fire hydrants and garbage like that. But, Punisher Warzone came out. It was a revamp. Different actors, different directors, and it was a reboot in terms of they completely tossed out the origin story, which the Punisher in the 2000 whatever had this huge beach thing and stuff, but the Warzone went back to the strictly park thing where they didn't really touch upon it too, and both these movies didn't really go through the origin in the same way that the original movies touched on the origin, which was great because the original ones just did this whole linear order, but the Hulk one had a flashback on it. And we start off in the action, eventually it mentions how the whole accident happened, and the Warzone revealed the Punisher's origin through a slideshow. Warzone was also a direct-to-DVD. It was a pretty damn good film. I wouldn't call it a spectacular one because the campy acting was just all over the place, and then the special effects were a little wonky, but it definitely had the body count I'd more associate with the Punisher than the 2000 whatever film, which wasn't even as impressive as the one that came out during the 90s, I think, where they didn't even have the Punisher logo on the guy, but definitely, if they handle a reboot and they handle it like that, that's like the kind of Spider-Man reboot I want to see. Also, I guess the whole thing about this too is that Spider-Man's gonna be moved back into being high school and stuff and being more of a young guy. I definitely appreciate the idea that they're doing a reboot just because I want Norman Osborn to be more of a reoccurring character, because they really brushed upon him on the first film, where you just introduce this guy, he becomes a villain, you have the Spider-Man origin story, it all gets jumbled together. Like, Batman Begins, or Nolan actually, was pretty smart by not tossing Joker into the first movie, in part because Joker was already in the first movie, the Burton saga, but also because, when you have a hero origin story, it's going to take up so much time, and you really should save your more dynamic and more compelling villains for a later film. Especially like how Kirk Connors keeps appearing in these Spider-Man films. And he wasn't even the Lizard at the time, but in the fourth film, supposedly they're thinking of finally giving him his mutation, and rumor had it that I think Vulture or Mysterio is also going to appear, depending on who you believe. In general, with the whole concept of the Spider-Man reboot, I mean, on some levels, it feels like you're taking steps backwards, but, if you're going to go on the right path this time, not go for the kind of campiness and lighthearted humor and the more watered-down Spider-Man that are doing mostly for young children, I mean, it's totally worth the sacrifice. Especially to bring back characters like Norman Osborn, and even like Harry, because they killed off both Osborns, which was a horrendously stupid decision, because, they'd make great reoccurring characters. I mean, Batman Begins, once again, Batman being a very successful cycle here, they haven't really killed off that many of the villains, unlike, a lot of the other films, where you have both the Joker survived in TDK, Scarecrow survived in Batman Begins, and did a cameo in TDK, and Ra's al Ghul, or however you pronounce his name, was never really confirmed to be dead. He just, kind of went off to what may have been his death. I mean, he could have gotten out of that too, where you've definitely seen them burying Norman, and Harry's buried, and, well, Doc Ock might have survived. I mean, he fell into the water with that giant orb thingy, but you kind of assume he died. But, he could be alive, but in general, I thought Raimi just did a horrible job with the license. I thought even the action wasn't shot all that well. I mean, the new Green Goblin fight in Spider-Man 3 was pretty cool, and I guess the action scenes for all the Doc Ock stuff was pretty decent. But, I mean, a lot of the acting and dialogue between that wasn't all that solid. But, I mean, Spider-Man 2 on a whole, I thought was pretty good. Spider-Man 1, meh. And Spider-Man 3 was less watchable than Batman and Robin. Yeah, I said it, and I'm completely serious when I say it. It was less watchable, or less enjoyable, than even Batman and Robin. Totally putting it out there, you can quote me on that, whatever. But yeah, I completely hated Spider-Man 3, as did most everybody. On the whole, I don't think Raimi did the franchise justice. I don't think Tobey was the right choice, and oh no, I don't even know how to feel about Kirsten Dunst at this point. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Kirsten Dunst is an attractive actress. She's done some half decent stuff, not like a terrible amount of like really great stuff, but enough to justify her as an actress. But I don't think she gave her best performance. But at any rate, those are my thoughts on Spider-Man 4.